Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest in this segment almost needs no introduction. George Scorsis is the CEO of Liberty Health Sciences Inc., trading on the CSE under the symbol LHS. George, welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
George, lots going on in your universe. Give us the latest update. What's happening for LHS?
Yeah, it's busy. We continue to build our house of brands. As I've always said, dispensaries are about having not only the best service, the best data points for our patients to help them continuously get the best products, but also we want to strive to have the best brands. So we just brought PAX into our portfolio. We're the first in Florida. We have an exclusive on it. So I think that really, what that really shows is that we are committed to being the first, but also having the best brands for our patients to use. I think that's a differentiation point for us.
Mm-hmm. So PAX makes controlled portable cannabis oil vaporizers. Temperature-controlled portable cannabis oil vaporizer. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds like a pretty high-tech device. What is it? What does it do that other ones don't do?
Yeah, so a few things. You can track all the data points. It's all trackable on your iPhone, which most of them don't have those capabilities. And for us, it's important for the user to actually have that feedback loop for them to understand not only the strains that they're using, but also how they're using it. It's really an interesting vaporizer. It's a lot different from the disposables that are out there, and I think it's more of a premium product.
So it's like, dude, you're too high, smoke less.
Yeah,
okay,
hold it back.
Dude, you let that inhale go too soon. Inefficient. I love it. I'm going to have to get one of those. Okay, so you are going to distribute these throughout Florida?
Yep, that's right. It's going to be available on October 1st through delivery. It's also going to be available through all of our dispensaries that we have throughout the state.
Okay, and then on September 6th, you had put out an announcement about your incredible growth in the state of Florida, and revenue's up 112%. Patients are up, like it's just going off down there.
Yeah, I think it's indicative of what we always said we're going to do. You know, we're going to build the best platform. We're going to be the best, the most, what I would say, patient-centric company in the entire state, and I think it's showing. We have 10,000 patients currently within our platform, and it continuously grows. Our revenue is coming in line with what we anticipated. All of our growth is indicative of what we always committed.
I don't hear about a lot of competition in Florida, and is that by design? Like, would you rub them out?
No, you know, there's competition. We're going to see MedMen, we're going to see Ianthus, a few of the other players. GTI is coming into the marketplace. They all understand what we saw when we first came into the market on what the opportunity is in Florida. But I think what they are going to see is how challenging Florida is as a marketplace. It's not simply about you know, you having the ability to open up 30 dispensaries. It's actually getting the dispensaries open. And I think also a lot of people need to focus on cultivation. Cultivation's a lot more complicated than what most would imagine. You're dealing with high humidity. You're also dealing with a few other factors.
Interesting. The state of Florida is only medical, correct?
That's right. Only medical with 14 licenses currently in the marketplace. Potentially in 2020 we may see adult use, but we'll see how that goes. There's still not too many indicators that the state is going to be favorable in that direction.
Is that right, eh? What is the tax regime like in Florida? I'm curious as to. I know in California they're having a real problem where since the onset of the new holistic regulations, patients are seeing increases in costs of up to 40%, which some of them are not able to incorporate easily. Is that the same thing that's happening in Florida?
No, Florida is actually the exact opposite. Florida is quite friendly to patients using. We haven't seen heavy, what I would call sin taxes imposed on the patients. It's extremely friendly marketplace to work with. The regulators continuously work with us on building platforms, allowing us different products in the marketplace, expanding all of our dispensaries, and I would say it's one of the best systems that I've seen in the entire U.S.
Interesting. So what are the metrics of the Florida market in terms of number of patients potentially and sort of the size cost-wise?
Well over 140,000 patients in the system right now, growing over 3,000 patients a week. I think it's one of the fastest growing markets in the U.S., hands down.
The word is out.
Yeah, the word is out, and we see them coming. And you know, I think what you will see is it continuously escalate at that point. It is one of the most aged demographics in the entire U.S. It has one of the most chronic conditions allowed. So it's a really interesting market for us to enter into, especially when we came in as the most medical of all of the platforms in the space. Many of the competitors wanted to be more recreational, and I would say that, you know, that probably wasn't what the consumer base is today. It may be in the future, but not today.
Okay. And back in August, you doubled the capacity of your 360 Innovation Campus. What goes on there?
Yeah, our Innovation Campus is more than just cultivation. It's an area that we can have commercial kitchens. We can start working on water-soluble products, to start looking at beverages in the future, transdermal patches.
Gummy bears?
Potentially,
my personal favorite.
Potentially gummy bears. We will shape them like like oranges for you, James.
Thank you.
And but we are looking more at innovative platforms within that space. We do have the ability to do different things, and I would say that the regulators are open to us allowing for different derivatives or disruptables in the space.
Sure, and the stock's been on quite a tear lately, up like 30-40% in the last few weeks. Is that a result of what you're executing here, or are there other things happening behind the scenes or more broadly in the market that's driving that interest right now?
I think the catalyst was one of our announcements last week. I think that investors are waiting to see, could we really deliver on what we promised? And I think last week was the first indication that we could, both on our revenue targets and our patient targets. We've hit both of them. And I think that allows for a lot of comfort, and we've seen a spike in our share price over the last few days, especially in the last week, and I think we're going to continuously see that.
Not a deal with Diageo yet.
No, it would be promising, but not yet.
Okay, darn. You heard it here first. No. Okay, so great. You were working on a number of things in some other states as well. What's the progress of those little initiatives?
We're still looking at Massachusetts, promising state, as well as some additional ones that, you know, we look at it in a few ways. Is it commercially feasible, first and foremost? Secondly, we won't enter into a state that we simply buy paper. We want to go into state that we get bench strength. Every single state has its own complexities. You need to get people who actually know the regulations within the state but are good operators. We're an operational company, we're not a roll-up company. I continuously say that. So I think that will be really the filter that we use to evaluate any market, and it'll come with bench strength, but it'll also not just be a piece of paper allowing us to go into the space, because then tremendous capex is associated with it. We wouldn't want to do that to our investors.
Yeah, sure. So Aphria put out an announcement that they had completed their divestiture of Liberty Health, but they still have an option to back in through a warrant exercise, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And so it's interesting to me because one of the key features of Liberty Health that a lot of people don't realize, I think, is that this is still very much has access to all of the bench strength in the Aphria camp, on the scientific side, on the operational side, on capital, access to capital, and all of that, correct?
That's right. So what it essentially is, we'll retain the IP, the know-how, all the cultivation experience that we've garnered over the last little while. But I think what it does is, although they are somewhat detaching themselves at the current moment, they have the opportunity to be part of it in the future. I think whether it be Aphria or any other large LP in Canada, they know that the US is quite promising when it does open up, and I don't think Aphria wants to exclude themselves. So it really offers a pretty interesting opportunity for us downstream to work again with Aphria. I think it's also time for the little brother to grow on its own and independently. And I think there's going to be a point that you see us together again.
Oh, very cool. Probably USD prohibition or somewhere near there.
That's right.
All right, George, that's a fantastic update. We'll leave it there for you for now and come back to you in a short time and see how you're making out. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.